Borada. Hello, thank you for joining me. Today I've come to the lovely Welsh town of Denbigh, and we're now standing in the remains of Denbigh Friary. So this was a Carmelite friary where friaries were often in the town centre rather than monasteries in more remote places, because friars were more like what today's would think of missionaries. They'd have gone into the town and spoke to people, basically done sort of evangelism as it would have been known today. So this friary was founded in 1289 by Llewellyn, and this building dates from about 1300. So as you can see, there's not a huge amount left. There would have been other buildings, but they're no longer standing, so it's just the church that survives. So it's quite a big building. I believe I can't see any information here on it, but I think it actually had a roof on until the 1800s, and then it burnt down. And as you can see, there's some newer brickwork up there that's probably been built. Whether that arch collapsed, because to me the stonework up there looks a bit newer. But if you look at the big window here, you can see how the original stonework's in there, but they've had to fill it up with bricks just to preserve it, really, stop it from collapsing. And see where like the bishop's seats would have been. There'd have probably been a high altar. So these, you can imagine sort of the friars, they're very similar to monks. They'd have probably like worn habits. They'd have remained silent in the evening and until sort of the next morning. And apparently the Carmelites didn't eat meat for half a year, so they had quite an interesting diet. So what we're going to do now is we're going to leave the friary behind us, because there's not a huge amount to see here, but I thought it'd be a shame to, not include it. We're going to go and we're just going to sort of wander into the town centre a bit and have a look at perhaps some of the town's more recent history. Of course, the one thing the town's famous for is its castle, and that will come in a later video. Interesting, that sign there, it says Abbey Cottage. So that cottage behind us is the Abbey Cottage, and as you can see, it is in quite close proximity to the friary itself. So we're now going to leave the friary. We're going to walk up this road up here, this track, and we're going to go and find the site of the railway station. So two kind of different bits of Denbigh's past in one video, really. There's quite a nice big house there, and then there's some Kent House, that one's called. I do like looking at houses when I go to a different town. So that's called Kent House, not quite sure why. But that road there is called Abbey Road. Obviously not the Abbey Road the Beatles are known for. That house there is called Abbey Villa. I mean, there's quite a few Abbey Roads, because there's an Abbey Road stop on the Docklands Light Railway, which is known to confuse tourists, because they go there looking for the level crossing that the Beatles walked across. I don't think there's even a zebra crossing. Let's just have a quick look on Abbey Road. So, there's no Beatles recreation, but it's quite funny. It's called Abbey Road. Nice lime tree there. Right, let's go and find the site of the old railway station. So the railway ran along behind there. The railway station opened in 1860 by the Vale of Clwyd Railway, and it would have later gone onto London and North Western Railway, then part of the LMS, and then eventually the London Midland Region British Railways. We're going to come to that bit later, but the railways once crossed the road just there. It's a rather almost Eastern European style kebab place there. So what I'm thinking, this is one of those videos where I haven't actually been to where I'm going before. I'm thinking we could probably find our way to the site of the old railway station along here somewhere. Possibly here. That house may have been a chapel once. And yeah, that looks good. Just got to get across the road now, so just bear with me. Hope one of these cars will let me cross. Thank you. So we're just going to go up here now to where this rather big grey supermarket is. I believe that is the site of Denbigh railway station. So from Denbigh, the railway went north to Rhyl. It also went across country that way towards Chester, and it went through Mould. Mould apparently is the only town in Great Britain that has a Crown Court that doesn't have a railway station. And then south it went to Corwin, where the Llangollen Railway has recently extended to. So I don't know if we're going to see much the actual railway station itself. I think there was a lot of it remaining, but it's gradually been redeveloped over the past few years. So somewhere here is where, very boring place, but this is where the railway station would have been, and it doesn't look like there's anything to show that this was a railway station, but we'll come to it in a minute. There are some clues of the old railway station. Now if you look just up there, you can see Denbigh Castle. There will definitely be a video from there. We're going to go up there next, but when I come to a town I haven't been to before, I do like to have a look at the site of the old railway station. So it would have been, well, here somewhere. I thought somebody said there were remains of platforms, but it looks as though it possibly has been demolished when they built this development. So this is the site of the railway station, but what we'll do now, we're going to walk past Aldi. We're going to have a look at some more obvious clues that this is the site of a railway station. So we've gone from one of the earliest parts of the town, the Friary, to what was a railway station, and now we're in an Aldi. Funny how sometimes these modern boring places I end up featuring, like I featured the Morrisons at Leek because it's the site of the railway station. In Denbigh they have an Aldi that's the site of the railway station. Of course I'd rather it just be a railway station. Maybe one day the railway will reopen, but somehow I'm not sure at the moment. Interesting looking building over there. I'm not quite sure what it is, whether it's I don't think it's a town hall, because I think the town hall's further up. Maybe it's a non-conformist chapel of some kind. Anyway, what we're doing now, that's Aldi, as I said, so the railway line would have gone across here somewhere, and just up here is some clue. It's fenced off, so I can't take you onto it, but just there, that's where the railway line would have come from Aldi, gone across the bridge. So we're going to go down these steps. Behind us you can see the arches of the railway bridge. So there's been probably a girth bridge here taking the railway line over the street. It's quite interesting that the arches still survive. Going up that way goes to the town centre, where we're going to go next. So the railway come across there, we'll cross the road. Just want to have a look here past the abutments, see if we can see anything on this side. What have we got? That's interesting. Look, they are actually still using part of the railway infrastructure. There's some sort of workshop or a storeroom underneath the arches. So what I'm now going to do is I'm going to press the button and wait to cross the road. So we're going to follow under where the railway is a bit. It's interesting to see the abutment on that side has kind of been demolished and dug out. You can see the outer wall of the abutment, and there's a pub there called the Railway. So there's the pub called the Railway. So there would have been an abutment probably coming to about here, and they've kind of dug it out. There's the abutment there. Let's just have a quick look up here, see where the railway used to go. So it used to go that way down towards Corwin, where it joined the Great Western Line from Ruaben across to Bala. So the trains would have come across here and down there, and the other line would have gone, no, or was this the Mould line? I'm not sure. There was a junction though. I think this is possibly the line that went to Mould, actually. The line to Ruaben, I think, and made a turn that way. That's funny, isn't it? Look, there's that larder that sometimes appears in the videos. So I think what we'll do, we're going to go for a drive in it. So watch the next video. We're going to drive from here up to Denbigh Castle. So I hope you enjoyed it. From on the site of the old railway at Denbigh. Thank you very much for watching and goodbye.